Hey, good evening, everyone. Good evening. It is Tuesday, November 5th, 2019. In the United States, it is known as Election Day. It's also known as the first Tuesday in November, Election Day. So I hope you went out there, exercised your constitutional right to vote. I mean, we got a lot of people out there exercising their constitutional rights on everything else. Guess what? Those are moot if you're not exercising them all. You have to exercise them all. That's what being a good American is. Sure, everybody loves to talk. Everybody loves to say, well, I'm exercising my freedom of speech. You know what? It's pointless if you're not voting. That's nonsensical. Get out and vote. If it's not too late, if it's too late where you are on the East Coast, well, then you know what? That's it. But next time you get a chance to vote, exercise your right to vote. Because again, you want the first. You want freedom of speech, freedom of religion, guess what? You need to vote. You want freedom, you want the right to keep and bear arms? Same thing. You want to be safe from illegal search and seizure? You want to be able to not incriminate yourself? You want right to a speedy and fair trial? Guess what? All of those hinder and revolve around the ability to vote, to get out there and vote. Vote, and your vote does matter, so get out there and vote, everyone. It's Election Day. So, good evening. It's, like I said, Tuesday, November 5th, 2019. This is Let's Have a Chat About Leadership. And tonight's topic, it's all about leadership in the news. And man, there is a lot of news going around, a lot of nonsense going around all over the world. Not just here, not just on Election Day, just a couple miles down the road from where I'm at, north, across the pond, down south, the other under, down under. There's just nonsense all over the world. Good things, bad things, stuff is happening all over. But let's not forget that, hey, we're human beings and everyone is doing something because whether we like it or not, they have a right to do it just like we do. So that being said, tonight I want to talk about, well, like it says there, the McDonald's, the Mickey D's, the McDonald's CEO is fired. That's right, the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer, the top dog, the main man, the big cheese, Mayor McCheese, not the Hamburglar. Well, never mind, I'll leave that one alone. Mayor McCheese, the big dog, the man at the top, at the helm of the huge empire that the McDonald's brothers started and Ray Kroc just grew. And there he is at the top. Well, guess what? He's fired. And why is he fired? Because he had a consensual relationship with an employee. Yes, but why should you get fired when it's a consensual relationship? Folks, do I need to get into workplace relationships? What happens in workplace relationships? Sure, they start off, oh, that's so cute. You two are dating. Oh, you're made for each other. It's fantastic. And I've talked about this in a previous show. Folks, eventually it sours, it spoils. And then all of a sudden now people at work have to pick sides. And nobody wants to pick sides because it's really none of their business. But you and your partner or your former partner, once it all blows up, people want to pick sides. People it gets ugly. And it gets even uglier if they get married. And then, oh, it's still so cute. You two got married. And then it just gets crazy. It gets ugly. Ew, I don't even know what I saw in him. I don't even know what she's doing. What was I thinking? And so on and so on and so on. And I've heard it countless times. It does happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Sure, there are those rare exceptions, but you see them coming because, again, they work on relationships. And that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about that this guy, the top dog, the Mayor McCheese, the big man, the head honcho, he violated company policy. Company policy, procedures, protocol, that's why they're in place. That's why those workplace romance rules are in place. They're not allowed. And especially if you're the top person and you're dating a subordinate, guess what? It's not allowed, really, truly. Now, if that individual had quit and then they made their thing public, well, then, they took a proactive approach. Kudos to them. But in this case, they did not. And this guy eventually was going to get found out because usually people at that top tier level, they get found out because there's always somebody gunning for them. There's always somebody always looking at them, waiting to see them stumble so they can push them and fall and say, oh, look, he fell on his own. There's people like that, folks. It happens everywhere. It doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing, where you're at. There are individuals like that because, again, that's just human nature. So that being said, This guy, like I said, they just, well, they cannot date or have any kind of relationship, consensual or not, with employees of the organization. And at this point, everybody beneath this guy was, because he was a CEO, everybody beneath him is, well, a subordinate. And that's kind of abusing power. That can be perceived as abuse of power. That can be conceived as, well, willful misconduct, knowing the rules. And I'm more than sure somewhere along the line in his climb up the corporate ladder, he had to deal with something like that, because it goes on everywhere. I mean, it probably goes on at many of the restaurants. It happens. But again, at this level, he's up at the C-suite. And at that point, that's it. There's things that you can and cannot do. And having a relationship with an employee, consensual or non-consensual, is a big no-no in the organization, because again, they're trying to maintain this image. They're trying to maintain some sense of order, decorum, and most of all, sanity at that top level, because they have this worldwide, global organization they need to run. And you can't run it if your mind is worried about, oh, well, is she going to break up with me? Is he going to break up with me? And then it's going to get ugly. And like I said, it's not a matter of if, but when. And then should it all go right, nobody breaks up, there's no trouble, there's no soured relationship, then what happens? Well, then they start getting accused, and it comes out that they're having a relationship. Then what happens? Oh, he's playing favoritism. And then you get that problem, and then that rears its ugly head, and then it starts creating dissent among the employees, and it starts corrupting, and it starts destabilizing the organization, because the team cannot work together, because, oh, well, that's playing favorites. Oh, don't mess with the CEO's current boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. Don't do that. And so it creates problem. It creates dissent. And eventually that dissent festers, grows, and it just gets ugly, and it's just terrible for the organization in general. Next thing you know, you've got scandal. And that's why HR policies, procedures are in place that are explicit on the case of workplace romance. They are very explicit on the workplace romance. And a lot of them, unfortunately, will recognize that it is an issue. It's going to happen. You can't control human emotions. But they do put in there that should it become an issue, appropriate action will be taken up to possibly termination. That being the case, you got to watch it out. Got to watch out what's going on. And as I said earlier, it's not good practice. It's not good practice to do that, especially if you're a supervisor, you're a leader, you're someone who's highly visible within the organization. It's not good practice, because that sets another standard, an unprecedented standard. And, well, if it's good for the CEO, it's obviously good for the assistant day shift manager. Okay. And to date, the assistant day shift, assistant cashier, whatever. Okay. So you see what I'm saying? No, because it's leading by example. And that's the classic case of leading by example. And that, my friends, people will follow to the letter. So workplace romances do work, but in most cases they don't, and it's just a matter of when, not if. And again, I've seen them. I've had people come up to me and said, like, what was I thinking? What was I doing? I should never have met that person. I should never agree to go to coffee with that person. I should have never married them. I'm not kidding. Raising my right hand, it's happened. And guess what? It's going to happen again, because it does create problems, and it does, because once they get into that relationship, they let their guard down. Now they reveal who they truly are. So that being the case, it's understandable that the CEO of McDonald's, but I'm glad that it was a CEO in this case, and it wasn't like someone down below. No, this is actually at the top. The board took action, immediate, swift action. Once they found out, they got rid of him. He's gone. And I don't know about the other employee. I think the other employee is still there. So at least somebody's earning the bacon, and 2 slices of bacon, and 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese. Anyway, not trying to make fun of the situation, but again, it's can't help it. It's McDonald's. But again, it happens every place. Follow the rules, stick to the rules. And folks, if your organization does not have that type of rule and policy or procedure in place, maybe it's time to ask why not. And it should be, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And when that happens, you and your organization do not want to get caught short. So be sure you do something about it. Folks, I'm Dave. That's my Twitter handle. Follow me there. I invite you to follow me. I also invite you to follow me on Instagram. That's it. And if you're watching not on Facebook, this is where you can go. Go to facebook.com/thedavidguerra. That's my page on Facebook. I look forward to seeing you there. Let me know. In the meantime, thank you for stopping by. Thanks for watching. Let's have a chat about leadership for Tuesday, November 5th, 2019, Election Day in the United States. Have a great evening. This has been Leadership in the News. Talk to you tomorrow.